FI as well as the controlling. So today's main topic is master data cost elements. The key aspect of cost element in master data is cost element. Here we create primary cost element as well as the secondary cost element. So first of all, we understand what is primary and secondary cost element. The primary cost elements are created based on expenses accounts. So means the expenses related to production of a finished goods. What is the cost involved that we create? That is called a cost elements. That is primary cost element. They always have the same number as the expense amount. In other words, it is called 1:1 ratio between the expense as well as the primary cost. Generally, in business transactions, in day-to-day activities, we use several type of expenses related to staff welfare, electricity, telephone expenses. These are the cost for the company. But for the production point of view, we cannot call it as a cost element because the production of a finished goods, we require raw materials, labor, power, octroi. These are the costs that is involved in the factory level. So this cost element is generally used for the factory level to analyze to arrive what is the final cost, what is the cost involved in the production of a goods. Okay, it can be reflected through posting the controlling module. As I said that the FI and controlling, these two modules are interlinked between for the cost elements. 1:1 ratio. Why 1:1? Because we are interlinked this cost to primary cost as well as the secondary cost. In SAP financial accounting and expense accounts, we will post all the entries in controlling for the primary cost elements like wages paid, power office, what is called uh, electricity paid, as well as labor charges paid, octroi paid. These are the costs involved in factory overheads. These are called factory overhead because for the production of a product, it required some cost elements. Okay. Secondary cost elements. Secondary cost elements are created in controlling and are used for all activity that are executed in controlling. Like we have two kind of products to produce. Like one is tablets, another one is syrup. So for the production of syrup and for the production of tablets, what is the quantity of the material? Means raw materials required, and what is the quantity of the manpower? Means the number of manpower to finish the product. It requires less number of staff or more number of staff. We need to execute this by uh, means we need to get the manpower from other services. Means we have to adopt this manpower from outsource, not from the inner, because we the person who involved in the production team, they required only the skilled as well as unskilled staff. The skilled staff is our proficient, means they are the proficient in their field, but unskilled staff, they are only involved in the packing, production, and as well as the shifting movement of the stock. These are called unskilled staff. For that purpose, we involve the labor. So labor, we get the labor from the outsourcing team. They supply the labor and they supply the bill at the end of the month, and this payment has to make to supplier. For that, what is the cost of the cost involved and what is the production we generated? By involving cost, we can arrive that what is the percentage of cost is involving to produce one kind of product. Okay. Certainly, the secondary cost elements do not cause any changes in the value of the financial accounting because these are the cost, not the financial activity. But because in day-to-day activity, we use several expenses and several revenues, but this cost element is only applied for the production of the goods. It is important in the balance sheet of the secondary cost element is always zero. Why? Because cost allocation and order settlement based on the supply. Okay, cost elements category, primary and secondary category. Here, the main things we understand that what is primary cost element and secondary cost element. What are the aspects involved in the primary and secondary cost elements? We categorize the cost element by the cost element category. These are different cost elements category for primary and secondary cost element. Primary cost elements consist of primary cost reducing revenue. If the cost incurred is more than the revenue generation, means production if less and the cost involved, here we lose some percentage of the means the cost is increased. So based on that, we can arrive that whether we can involve more labor, more power, more expenses for less production. So the management can decide whether this cost can be involved or we can invest this cost for other product or for this product. Because if we are losing the if we are losing the cost means we are unable to generate the revenue. So in that case, we don't require management can decide that not required to involve much more cost based on that only, because we are providing the MIS report on the end of the month. So what is the cost involved for the production, what is the revenue we have generated, what is the transportation cost involved for the movement of the stock, and how far it is means what is the time duration it has taken to supply the goods to the respective customer. If we have a phase to damages cost, that is also comes under the finished revenue part also. If we lose any revenue, that means it is impact to the company's profitability. Okay, accrual deferral cost, that is also impact revenue. Revenue, we can say it's a sale of the goods, this delivery of the goods. If we have produced the goods but we are unable to deliver the goods to the respective customer in time, so there we are losing this there we are losing the time duration, because the customer and the supplier, they are mutual understanding that if we supply the goods within a 7 days or 10 days, we will release the payment within within 7 or 10 days. If the customer unable to, means they receive the goods after means their expectation, they will they will means they will repay the amount after losing of what is the cost incurred for them. They will reduce means they will deduct the cost from their point of view and make the payment after deduction of cost only. Here the company is losing their revenue as well as the collection. Okay, sales deduction, as I told that if we supply the goods in time, so there may be chances of less deduction. And external settlement. Okay, this is about first primary cost element. This is secondary cost element, internal settlement, order that we receive from the supply customer. Overhead rates means the cost, as I told that the cost that is incurred for the production as well as the cost that we have paid to the labor, uh, water services, water tankers. These are the costs are the overhead for the factory level. Okay, assessment, we can analyze what is the cost incurred and how much we have gained by production of the goods. It is internal activity that will take care of the management. It is essential to assign the cost certain category of the cost elements. Hence, it is guaranteed as integrated value chain with the correct results in controlling, because it is interlinked with the FI as well as the CO module. Because in the CO module, it comes the production cost and cost elements. So for creation of the primary cost element is the T code is kA01. Okay, in the kA01, what we are, as I told that the few cost element that is incurred for the production point of view, that is factory wages, salaries to the staff, and electricity or the power that is incurred for the production of your production for the finished goods, manpower that is involved for the external supplier that we have to make the payment, as well as this what is called the security that is incurred, that is involved in the production and safety of the goods, and safe movement of the goods. Okay, this is only two cost element that we that created, but we can create n number of cost elements based on our client requirement, as or the present company where we are working, what company is maintaining, that we can create. As my company is as a production manufacturing unit, so we have multiple cost elements, cost involved for the production of the goods. Just for your information, just just few minutes back we have discussed with our management that they required few reports that is related to production point of view as well as the audit point of view. So this is interlinked with the inventory also, because for purchase of material and stock involvement and supply and production use, that is also a part of cost elements. Okay, for creation of the cost, coming to the point of creation of the cost elements in SAP, depending on the process for the master data creation, we can decide whether we want to create cost element manually or automatically. For manual creation cost elements that we can create, if we create the cost element manually, we need to define the process. In this process, the person who created the expense account informs you about the few new accounts before executing any posting, because the management wants to check the the cost that is involved in the production. So whether these expenses are related to production or not, the management will only verify whether what is the cost involved for the production. So we required this for the manual also. Before posting of any entry, we need to cross check with the client. This is point of view of the client as well as the management also, because every company has their own controlling point where what are the accounts we need to create, because multiple accounts, because the person who involved in the production team, they know that what is the cost involvement, so they can guide that. So these are the cost is required, these are the elements, these are the expenses required for the production of any for production of the finished goods or semi-finished goods. So they will suggest that, based on that we can create, or the as per the management direction we can follow them. Okay, this is about manual creation and automatic creation. If we want to create a cost element automatically, we need to do some configuration. Okay, first one is manual creation, that is depend on the management, and this is the automatic creation. For that we require some configuration. For that, here we need to interlink with the chart of accounts. At the time of company creation, we also created chart of account that is interlinked with our uh, SA document, GL accounts. Okay, so like further we need to indicate those cost element which the system creates automatically. Okay, see, we have already created our chart of accounts and we have given the name also, because for these are the interlinked with the controlling point. So at the time of creation of chart of account, we need to select automatic creation of cost elements, because and in the FI model we generally not selected this automatic creation of the cost elements. Why we are selecting this cost element? Once we post the entries, it is automatically reflected to the cost integration, means it is integrated with FI as well as controlling. Okay, so there are the steps to create cost elements automatically. One is IMG, means these generally we go with the uh, path only. So this is SAP IMG reference controlling cost element accounting master data cost elements. These are the steps we need to follow by creation of automatic cost elements. Okay, so here the step and here the path that we have given. Okay, based on that we have to follow. Here account start from and end. Okay, this is the number is given by the SAP that we need to select, and here we have an option of 1. Okay, so that we can go through the help menu. From now the cost element will be created automatically with the assigned cost elements category. We need to check 1003 and 1007, and this is the cost element category. Because generally we every company is required to maintain their cost category. So what is the cost category, right? Manpower. So manpower can be for the professional manpower, as well, means as I told that skilled and unskilled. These are also involved in the production team. So what is the cost that is involved for the production of a unskilled staff, and what is the cost involved in the professional staff? So these all need to categorize. Okay, for for every batch creation, as we know that we have seen some barcodes in our every product. These are called the batch. In medicine also, we generally see that the batch that is created from so and so date and expiry is so and so. Say, so anyone notice this? Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So likewise, means I'm giving a simple example from my company point of view. So we generally create the batch for every 1 lakh of product. For that, we start the batch creation, and this is to be certified by the drug council of drug council only. After certification of this test report, then only we can start the production of this batch. For that also we need to pay some tax, means what is called some duty on this tax for batch creation. After paying of this duty, then only we can start the product using this batch for marketing of our product. Okay, so with this batch we means that we have maintained the default setting. This is general point of view to create a batch, but for SAP point of view we need to configure this batch also, and this batch code for creation of the cost elements input session creation we require to T code OKB3. Generally I have not done the configuration, but I'm just giving the uh, information, so that based on that everyone can start configuration. But before starting of the configuration we need to check whether all the FI and all the FI configuration was done or not. After that only we start the controlling. Is it true? Hello. Hello.
Yes, 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 the
Okay, so
yeah.
this is the T code is okay B3. The cost element group means you can place the cost into cost and element group. These groups are often used in reporting for defined assessment cycle, settlement profile, and many more. I recommend that you need to we need to use cost element group as much as possible in the configuration, because in this way we can easily adjust the settings at the time, such as changing the cost element group. Because once we have created the cost element group, we cannot change the group because it will affect to the cost of other items. For that, before creation of the cost element we need to assign whether this cost is related to this. Means first of all we need to make a what is called one detail about the cost. Based on that we can assign and create the cost element group. Like kHAH1 is a key code that we can use for the creation of cost element group. Here we display what are the cost elements group incurred for the the production of the goods or generating the report. This is production, and this is the interlink with the cost cost element group, like factory element, factory wages, factory element, consumables, because we required consumable item, that is for consumable item that is required for the cleaning of machinery space. And sometimes what happens, the machinery will be required repairing for smooth functioning of the production activity. Okay, for that we require to use, it means it is said that we require to check the report by the using of the T code is S underscore SL 0 underscore 21000007. Okay, this is about costing report. And end of the report what says, with this article we can understand the key uses of the cost elements and where and how the utility in the SAP ERP system. Means we generally use in our each company they have their own ERP packages, but in the point of view in SAP we use how to configure and what is the report that we can generate by configure. These are only few steps that we need to follow, but we need to concentrate on the cost element that is mandatory. And creation of the, at the time of creation we need to use these T codes, and after posting of entry only we can generate the report. We can check the report whether these reports as per the management as per the instruction of the client, I mean as per the requirement of the client or as per the company's norms, whether it is generated or is there any changes required. Okay, the primary cost element is generally link up with costing. I mean, what, and the secondary cost element is not related to P&L account. It's we can generate the profit and loss account for the prime production point of view, and the secondary cost element is linked with, sorry, it's linked with P&L account. Means it is not part of the primary cost element. It's not linked with production. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
If any anyone have some more knowledge, more information, please share it.
Yeah. Nice explanation of that.